Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's event with Project Lead the Way and Roblox. I'm David Greer, Executive Vice President of Programs at Project Lead the Way. Last month, Project Lead the Way and Roblox announced a partnership to bring Project Lead the Way design learning experiences to students on the Roblox platform and through Roblox Studio. Today, we're very excited to share previews and insights into these two key Roblox initiatives. With me today are Rebecca Cantor and members of the Roblox team, as well as the game development studio Phenomena, who will be partnering with us in the creation of learning experiences to be released in 2022. Now, I want to provide a brief overview of what we'll be going through today. We'll start by discussing the partnership with PLTW and Roblox. We will then have a conversation with a teacher that has already started working on the new module. Next, we will introduce you to Phenomena, our on-platform development partner, and then hand it over to the Project Lead the Way programs team to walk through the Roblox Studio module itself. We will end the webinar with a live action gameplay and make sure to leave time for some Q&A. One last thing before we begin, we are using Zoom webinar for this event, and we will enable the chat and Q&A features. So if you have a question about the content or for our presenters, please utilize the Q&A section. If you would like to network or comment on what you're seeing and hearing, feel free to use the chat feature. So now at this time, I would like to turn it over to Rebecca Cantor, Head of Education at Roblox, and Genevieve Johnson, Senior Instructional Designer at Roblox, to discuss the Project Lead the Way and Roblox partnership. Rebecca?
Thanks so much, David. Hi, everyone. As David mentioned, I'm Rebecca and I lead education at Roblox. For those of you who are new to Roblox, Roblox isn't just a game, it's a platform, and it hosts millions of user-generated experiences. We're on a mission at Roblox to connect billions of people in the metaverse, and to do so with optimism and civility at our core. Our platform seeks to enrich the way people connect, create, express themselves, etc., through shared experiences. So in addition to those experiences that some of you might be really familiar with, experiences in games like Adopt Me and Jailbreak, Roblox also hosts live events like concerts from some of today's best known artists like Lil Nas X, Zara Larsson, 21 Pilots, as well as branded worlds from notable companies like Gucci and Vans. Some of you may have gotten to play in those experiences. All of those are created in partnership with our community of developers. Roblox is a global development platform where many people can come together to connect, to share experiences, to learn new skills, to deepen and forge new friendships, all in user-generated 3D environments. So Genevieve on our education team is going to go ahead and tell you a little bit more about the work we're doing with PLTW. And over to you, Genevieve. Thanks.
So our vision with Roblox Education is to empower students and educators to explore learning online. So instead of reading about ancient Rome, for example, students will be able to go there and explore the Colosseum together. To support our efforts in education, we recently introduced the Roblox Community Fund, RCF, which we use to provide grants to educational organizations that develop curriculum and educational experiences that leverage our platform in immersive and compelling ways. One of the first grant recipients is Project Lead the Way. The shared goal of PLTW and Roblox is to support teaching and learning in the metaverse, both through the integration of Roblox Studio in PLTW curricula and through the creation of high-quality educational experiences on Roblox. Roblox and PLTW will give educators access to new tools for the teaching and helping of students while developing deeper critical thinking skills, experiencing new things, learning in new ways, and collaborating in teams in the metaverse. I'll now turn it back over to David.
Thanks, Genevieve. Project Lead the Way is expanding opportunities for students in two key ways, one of which you've already know about is the Project Lead the Way game design and development module. In this exciting, engaging module, Project Lead the Way students will take on the real-world professional role to create game experiences that engage and foster unlimited creativity. This is a supplemental module that currently is available for all PLTW high school students 9th grade and above. Our second initiative, which will be released in the middle of next year, as you may have read in our partnership announcement, we received a grant to develop PLTW learning experiences in the metaverse through Roblox. These experiences will be designed by PLTW instructional developers and created by industry-recognized leader in game design development Phenomena. We're lucky today to have with us Arshia Bimal, producer 2 from Phenomena. Arshia, I'll now pass it to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, as David said, I'm Arshia. I'm from Phenomena. Phenomena is an independent game studio. We're based in downtown San Francisco, California. We love making experimental, playful, and emotionally engaging experiences. And together we have made award-winning games for a variety of platforms and audiences. We've been lucky enough to collaborate with Roblox regularly, and we're so thrilled to join forces with PLTW. These client-side learning experiences designed by PLTW and Phenomena will engage students across the world to explore careers and concepts in computer science, engineering, and biomedical science, and hopefully to have a lot of fun in the process. So keep an eye out for more information in the spring of 2022 as we engage students in our networks through alpha and beta testing. I'd now like to introduce you to Jason Rausch, PLTW Senior Vice President High School. Jason will be joined by Seth Ponder, PLTW teacher at Riley High School in South Bend, Indiana. Over to you, Jason.
Thanks, Arshia. And thank you, Seth, for joining. Well, the module's been released for a few weeks now. Seth and his students are some of the early adopters who've been working through our game design and development module powered by Roblox Studio. So Seth, tell us how things are going. What are your students' reactions early on?
Hi there, everybody. So the reactions are going really well. We are a few weeks in with interruptions around Thanksgiving. And actually, the kids look forward to coming to class. I know you guys aren't surprised by that. I, for one, didn't know anything about Roblox before starting this. When I saw Project Lead the Way announce it on all of the socials and emails, I happened to be home and I turned to my own children and I said, does this sound cool? They're like, Dad, we play that all of the time, right? Like that's what we do at Grandma and Grandpa's. And then the next day I walked my students and kind of same thing. They're like, they enjoy it, they have fun with it. But many of them aren't the creators, right? So, and then in my classroom, we're always trying to be more creative than consumer. So still a couple weeks in, they're still having fun and enjoying a lot of it.
I know we had a chance to connect previously. You shared a fun anecdote about what's cool. I wonder if you could share that for the group.
Yeah, so I talked to my students today to prepare for this and get their input on it because from my vantage point, it looks like they're engaged. It looks like they're still having fun. But after a couple of weeks, I thought maybe it's changed. And so I asked them how it's going. You know, I'm still trying to help, but I'm learning just as much, maybe more than they are. And so I did ask the question that, you know, teachers and parents make things not cool by involving things like, you know, fashion, or when mom or dad gets TikTok, it's not cool anymore. And they said, no, Mr. Ponder, it's still cool. We're still having fun with it. So that was a win in my book.
That's great. So what about you? You've embraced the module. You've had an opportunity to get your feet wet. You said you're new to this. So I'm curious, how do you think this is going to change you moving forward as a teacher? Will you be incorporating more teaching and learning experiences around Roblox?
I think so. And I definitely plan on it. One of the huge strengths of Project Lead the Way is the training that goes along with all of the classes. So I am in computer science essentials, one of those, but I've also done aerospace, digital, and introduction to engineering design. So I've had the opportunity to be in-person training and then also virtual training in the last couple summers. This is, you know, brand new. We haven't had opportunity to do the training. So I'm getting trained with the students and with the experience. I can't wait for there to be training with Project Lead the Way for other people. I think that's a huge, like I said, it's a huge strength for Project Lead the Way. And so right now I'm learning with the students, we're having fun. But then they're also seeing, like, the teachers can be students. So they're seeing the human side of learning versus just having all of the answers and having fun learning at the same time.
Well, Seth, thank you so much. I know we're very early on, so it was very brave of you to jump on, share some initial reactions. We're hoping some of that asynchronous teaching materials that we provide will help you over the next several weeks. And with that, I'm going to be turning it over to Corrine Laidley, our Director of Instruction for Computer Science, and her team as they walk us through the module that Seth's students are currently engaging with. So Corrine, take it away.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah, so I'm really proud to say that in collaboration with Roblox, the computer science team took on a new challenge to explore and learn Roblox platform. And as David said, their creativity and the hard work resulted in the new game design and development module powered by the Roblox Studio. This module was published in November. Thank you, Seth, for starting it early on. And it is available to all high school students, as we said. And just to be clear, not just the CS students, but engineering and biomedical science too. This optional module includes 5 activities, 1 project, and a problem. The estimated class time is about 25 class periods. And it comes with a teacher guide, which includes our usual resources, teacher resources, along with a self-paced training module that prepares teachers to begin the game design development module with in their classrooms. I'd like to turn it over to Carol Kennard, our senior instructional developer, to talk about the teacher training experience. Carol?
Thanks very much, Karine. As we were saying, currently, game design and development does not have core training sessions. We released it in the middle of the year. So in its place, we created a experience called module training. It's a section in the teacher guide that will let teachers self-train asynchronously and at their leisure. Teachers work their way through the student course, experiencing everything their students will experience. And in this new format, we created a slightly different welcome page in the teacher guide, as you will see in just a moment. It includes a friendly video explaining how module training works.
Are you looking for a fun way to engage students in creative development and problem solving? Then PLTW's Game Design and Development is the experience for you. In this module, you and your students learn to create adventure-style games using Roblox, a popular online platform you can use to build and play video games. To get ready to facilitate this module with your students, start by reviewing the general preparation and considerations for guidance about classroom setup, technical requirements, student online safety, and other helpful resources. If this is your first time teaching game design and development, set aside time to go through the module training, a self-paced professional development experience for this module. The Welcome to Module training is where you jump into the training experience. It includes a to-do list to help you track your progress during training. Make sure to read through this resource for general information about the module and the training. Module training is made up of 6 training blocks that each take about 4 hours to complete. The content directs you to work through the student module while providing facilitation tips and opportunities to check your understanding and self-reflect on your learning. During training, you will be asked to post responses to the PLTW Game Design and Development Community Group. This is a great channel for teachers to ask questions, post solutions, and share tips and success stories with other teachers. Module Training Block 1 guides you through the first 2 student activities, starting with the creation of your Roblox account and installing Roblox Studio. It ends with a fun bowling adventure as your first Roblox game. The other 5 blocks of training guide you through the rest of the student module. By the time you complete the module training, you will have developed 3 more fun and engaging Roblox games. In addition to the module training section, the teacher guide contains a section of teacher resources specific to this module. These resources include preparation tips, solutions to the Roblox worlds that students develop, and answer keys to questions posed on the APBs. PLTW's Game Design and Development module will give you and your students many opportunities for creative game development and problem solving. Are you ready to take your class to the next level?
So as you saw in the video, we intentionally designed module training to be self-paced and include these to-do lists, both at the module level and within each of the 6 training blocks that teachers will complete. This here, as you see, is a to-do list in block 1 of the training. It contains active links to each section in the training block that in turn correlate to a section in the student module. Checking off progress at the end of each section will help teachers keep track as they work on their own to learn the student environment. So here's an example of one of the steps in block 1 of module training, where teachers are instructed to complete a section in the student course. After that, we provide support features that a teacher might find you in core training. For example, facilitation tips that you see here and community posts that you saw referenced in the video. We also include other support features throughout module training, such as teacher perspectives, for example, how to use the computer science notebook, programming tips, and frequent checks for understandings. We finish module training with a wrap-up to remind teachers of the helpful resources that are available, such as Roblox's educational material and our Helpful Solution Center. So with 1 and 2 activities coming up, Mark will share with you on those. Take it away, Mark.
Thank you, Carol. Activity 1 within the Game Design and Development course is called Getting to Know Roblox. In this activity, students focus on getting to know the basic building blocks and design principles of a Roblox world, mostly focusing on parts and properties. Students will also start to experience how the built-in engine of Roblox works and all that it does for the developer. So here we see the Roblox Studio interface. Let's start building. First, we'll go ahead and add a few parts, a block, a sphere, a wedge, a cylinder, and now we'll start moving those around. You can do this simply by dragging the part, or you can use several three-dimensional tools to adjust movement and even scale the parts. We'll go ahead and make this wedge a little bit longer, kind of like a ramp. And we'll go ahead and move this ball to the top of the ramp. And we can even rotate parts, like we're doing with the cylinder here. Once we get that vertical, we'll go ahead and move that into place and scale it up just a little bit. Put in position, duplicate it. And I think you can see where this is probably going. Students progress through this activity, they learn more about modifying parts. Here we'll change the color. We'll go ahead and select the ball and turn it to granite to make it a little bit heavier. And you can see we placed one of the blocks up in the air, turn it to this bright neon color. And we made a somewhat transparent wall over here. Now we'll run the world. This is where the game engine kicks in. You'll notice the block falls, the ball rolls down the ramp, and just the fact that we can even run around and interact with the world is all part of the Roblox engine. You notice we can knock over this wall because it doesn't even have a good base. All that is built into the platform for us. Activity 2 is called Bowling into Advanced IDE Concepts. Students use all that they have learned from activity 1 and create something a little more defined. Here you can kind of see the stages of development of the activity, from placing parts to changing properties to make this look like a bowling lane. Of course, it gets even deeper into other properties as well, such as anchored, which means a part will never move while the world is running. Eventually, students come to a full bowling lane. Here you can see our penguin pins, a wonderful asset our media team created, which Josh will explain in a little bit. And here over on the right side of the screen, you can see that every part in the world is in a hierarchy. We've added something called a click detector to the ball. And this is where we start exposing students to code. We don't make students actually write this from scratch, but we do explain it and have them organize it. So it's kind of a treading lightly into coding type thing. So let's go ahead and run the world. So when the ball is clicked, hopefully it'll go down the lane and knock down all the pins. Guess I'm not a very good bowler. Pins also have an event that when they are touched by another part, they will reset after some time. And the click detector on the ball is smart enough to know which way we are facing. And it goes off in that direction. Click event should reset the ball here shortly. And one of the nice things about Roblox is there are multiple ways to make things happen, especially in code. We think that allows some flexibility inside of the platform. With that, I will turn it back over to Carol to tell you all about pirates.
Thanks, Mark. So that brings us to activities 3, 4, and 5, which focus on a new world in Roblox. It's pre-built, so the students don't have to make what you see on the screen here. It's called Pirate Island, and this world has a pirate ship, an actual active volcano with spewing lava and sparks, and treasure chests. But in this world, the treasure chests don't do anything. So what we have students do is make interactive ones. To do this, they write event-driven scripts for the chests. And these event-driven scripts are small programs that wait for an event from the player, like a key pressed on the keyboard. Here you can see students interact by writing a script so that when the player presses the E key, a treasure chest is revealed. And when the player presses the E key again, the treasure chest opens to reveal its contents. An event can also be a mouse click, like you saw in the bowling game. Here, it's used to collect gold that's inside the treasure chest. In Roblox, you can create almost any type of experience that you can dream up. And the scripting for that can feel complex and sometimes overwhelming. So we intentionally kept programming as simple as possible while still making a fun and engaging learning experience for the students. Here, students write a script to reveal a buried treasure chest. Looks a little different because this one may or may not have a bogey inside that makes the player collect less gold. So these treasure chests that you've seen gave us a programming challenge in Roblox. We wanted a realistic way to open the chest, but due to the complexity of how objects are represented in a world, our goal was to keep the programming readily accessible. So we had to go with the simpler approach, translating the lid up and away instead of rotating it at its hinge. To complete the pirate adventure, students add NPCs or non-playing characters that can provide tools for them, such as a lantern being held by the skeleton, and they can show in-game dialogues like rules of the game and hints and clues. The skills that students learn through all of these activities are applied in the project and then later transferred to a new world in the module problem, which you will see in just a bit. So for the project, students start with another pre-built world called the Suburban World. In it, they create a game called The Haunting of Jewel House, according to a given storyline. You are a detective recovering stolen gems. The jewel thieves were apprehended, but only after they hid the jewels in a nearby neighborhood. Your mission, if you should choose to accept it, find and collect all of the gems. But beware, some buildings in the town may be haunted. So with that storyline, we provide a template for the game so that students can choose which features to add to their project and how to program them. This includes one of my personal favorite media items, our town ghost. Students modify the ghost script and they can control how fast the ghost is, how much damage it can inflict, and how easily it can be defeated. Our media team also created a variety of beautiful billboards that students can use to decorate their town. And using Roblox assets, we created NPCs for the project. Like in the pirate adventure, students program them to provide rules and clues in the new game. Students also at a hospital where they can write a script to restore player health and at a bank to return the gems to. Once built, players try to recover the gems that are hidden around the world. They must find and reveal them. They're hidden anywhere, and place them in their virtual backpack, all the while fending off the ghosts that can often appear out of nowhere. And as you may have heard, students add background music and sound effects to their game. This makes the game both more professional and more appealing. So now you get to hear all about the module problem from Sheila Robles.
Thank you, Carol. So once students reach the problem, they understand the ins and outs of Roblox Studio and have learned a variety of elements that are essential for successful games. To complete the game development module, we wanted to give students some creative freedom to design their own worlds. And what better way to do that than with a planet exploration game? To solve the planet exploration problem, students send players to a distant planet to scavenge for minerals that can only be found on that planet, far, far away. As you will see in a bit, the requirements for the problem provide an extensive amount of creative freedom for students. Because of this, we wanted to make sure that teachers felt highly equipped with resources to confidently manage the various experiences students will come up with. So we provide teachers with two solutions. One of the solutions serves as what we called a sample platter or sampler platter of game elements. Each of the problem requirements are encapsulated into individual Roblox assets so teachers can see the scripts with detailed comments and all the pieces needed for different objects to function as desired. There are a few elements provided in the solution that teachers should know how to that students should know how to implement, but weren't explicitly taught throughout the course. This is a great example of how teachers can provide differentiated opportunities to students. The second solution we provide is a creative solution developed by our very own Wyatt Dumas during his run through of the problem. And here I'll pass the mic to Wyatt.
Cool, thanks, Sheila. At the end of the module, students are challenged to create their own playable world using the tools that they've picked up along the way. You're looking at the creative solution to that problem. There were a couple of weeks between when I reviewed the last project and when I started this one. I found that it was a fun scavenger hunt through my old program code to find the pieces that would be useful to solve the problems presented in meeting the requirements for the rubric. The only new tools and techniques introduced at this stage in the module are those associated with the terrain editor. The Roblox terrain editor is flexible, allowing for any number of combinations of types and colors of materials as students create their worlds. It's fun to work with and an excellent outlet for creativity. We budget a small amount of class time for it so that students get a feel for the terrain editor, but emphasize moving on during class time to shine the spotlight on the skills they've developed. There are some requirements for the world. They include some constraints on the theme, the abilities of the player, and the functions of the game environment, including resource nodes, non-player characters, and inclusion of an unlockable area on the map. We also asked the students to write a few creative paragraphs setting up the backstory for this mission into space. One resource that the team provides to students is a template that contains a variety of assets for use in student solutions, and you see that here. Some of these assets are complete with sample code, and the template is playable, which helps remind students how they might accomplish various design goals. Take, for example, this bridge. It has several parts that have been customized with extra Roblox code to allow specialized behavior. By playing the template, the student can collect the logs and drop them off at the start wedge and eventually complete construction of the bridge. By clicking on the logs, the student can see where the corresponding parts are in their workspace and examine the code associated with the logs. The bridge can be used as a way to meet the requirement of having an unlockable area of terrain. Students are asked to make estimates of the amount of time that it's going to take them to develop different portions of the game and to record these estimates. That way they can track and compare as they go. This helps them self-monitor and determine if they have time to engage with some of the creative aspects of the process. Included in the module course are additional ideas for those students that are looking to continue work on their games. These features were selected because they are reasonable bite-sized modifications to the existing game that rely only on skills which the students already possess, or to fill an anticipated need like publishing. In the creative solution provided to teachers, the rover begins next to the spaceship and a couple friendly aliens from the planet Tumirion. A player can talk to the aliens and their dialogue changes based on the world state. There are a couple upgrade stations hidden on the planet's surface, like this one here, and two different types of minerals to collect. Eventually, retrieving enough of the minerals will allow the rover to complete construction of the bridge and access the return shuttle. So far, you've seen the rover navigating around the environment, talking to the non-player characters, collecting currencium and minerals, exchanging them for credits, activating upgrades, and making progress toward collecting enough materials to complete construction. Here you see the rover summiting the start area to complete that bridge construction. The awesomest thing about this part of the module is that students can see how all the skills they've developed interplay to allow them to make anything they could imagine. I'll now turn it over to Josh to talk about the media team's experience with this module.
Thanks, Wyatt. So yeah, this was a different program. We haven't done a lot of 3D before. You can see here we start with some concepts for anything that we wanted to make in 3D. We had a really great artist on our team, and one in particular, she made these amazing concepts for the entire space world. My job was to bring these concepts into the 3D space. And while you can build these, you can build some of these in Roblox. I chose to design these in a third-party program that I'm more comfortable with and just gives you a lot more flexibility. So there was my own learning curve, kind of working with the Roblox engine, bringing assets in there, messing with things like sizes and making sure everything lined up. You can see here, this is probably my favorite thing I made, this little teddy bear character. And one of the nice things is that when we were able to design some of these assets in accordance with how Roblox requires certain things to be built, there's things like that animation that are already built in there that we could utilize for that play. So it was really cool to see everything come together. I love what Wyatt did, and with the whole world and all the assets, and I'm equally more excited to see what these students are going to be making with all these assets and the entire lesson plan. So it's been a really fun project. And now I will hand it over back to David.
Great, thanks, Josh. And wow, I wish I had something like this when I was in high school in computer science. Of course, that dates me a little bit. I think I had a Commodore 64, which I don't want to count how many years ago that was. But what I want to do now is I just want to say thank you. I mean, thank you so much to Roblox, to Seth Ponder, to Phenomena, to the Project Leadway's programs team for sharing these details of this game design development module. Just really super exciting and engaging for students. We are excited for our students across America to have access to this. But now let's just kind of see it in action. So what we're going to do is the Project Leadway's programs team, the Roblox team, the Phenomena team are going to demonstrate some of the gameplay live. But during this live gameplay, the team will work to answer your questions. So keep submitting them and enjoy the show.
Okay, I'm going to hop on for just a moment because I do need to configure this better for showing over Zoom. So do some settings here. Graphics volume is 1 and graphics mode. Here we are. Okay. So I see I have a friend.
So what you're seeing here is actually The Haunting of Jewel House, the game that Carol was describing earlier. As David said, we've got folks from Phenomena, from Project Lead the Way, and from Roblox all engaging together. So Carol's going to be going around looking for clues, looking for gems. When we get to something that happens here, I'm going to actually just kind of open it up to those who would like to submit into the Q&A and we'll answer some questions. But it looks like Carol's found a clue. Are we able to see that? Click on the gems to put them in your backpack. Okay, so now let's see if we can find some gems. I think I saw somebody jumping on the trampoline over there. Oh. I think there was a gem there. Is that what I saw, Carol?
Yep, I just put one in my backpack. You can see it. My virtual backpack is at the bottom of my screen. It lists the contents of it. I don't actually have one. Oh, and here's our friendly ghost. I particularly like how he peeks out the window and watches the neighborhood. But I can digress in this game at many different areas. So now I'm going in, I'm battling the ghost, or he's battling me. Let me get my camera view a bit better, but I can fight back. There we go.
Great, and it does look like we're getting some questions in. So a few of these we'll be responding to live, and we will make sure that we actually capture these questions and get them back to you. The first one is, can we get a recording of the session? Yes, we are recording the session, so we'll give you an opportunity to connect to that and view at a later time. The next question coming from Grace. The teachers tried to click on the module and it's blocked at our district. How do we unblock the domain? What's the solution for Chromebooks? So a couple of good questions there. So the first piece of that question is district policy. We really encourage folks to drive these conversations locally about what's on their deny and allow list and making Roblox available. The second piece, what solution is there for Chromebook? Currently, Roblox Studio is supported by PCs and Macs. We are investigating other opportunities to deliver through a process called AppStream, but we're not really ready to go there just yet. So currently there is no Chromebook solution for us to work on Roblox Studio. The next question coming from Adam. How about Gateway? Can we access? Currently, all of our experiences are targeted at 13 and above. That will be where we are at for 21 and 22. We believe strongly in the vision, the shared vision with Roblox, that this platform will be invaluable to us moving forward. So we don't currently have anything in development for Gateway or launch, but we do, as a future state, believe these experiences will be trickling down into our lower age levels.
Jason, could I just jump in and add one quick thing, if that's okay?
You bet.
For those who have district or school policies that block Roblox.com on the whole, it would be really helpful for our team to hear as you approach your school or district with questions around why it's blocked and what it would take to unblock it. We're working on a Chrome extension as well as kind of a landing page that just shows the learn and explore experiences. So just our educational content on Roblox. It would be helpful to know if that would be sufficient for unblocking that domain as you guys get feedback. And it would also be helpful to understand if there need to be further limitations, say on chat, on private servers, etc. So the more you can relay to us kind of what it would take for your school, your district, the faster we'll be able to key in on kind of what the most common concerns and questions are to address. Thanks so much.
No, thank you, Rebecca. Some other questions coming in. I might defer to Genevieve or somebody from the team, but do you have suggestions regarding Lua script? Was everything that you were showing developed with or without Lua script?
So you can actually develop with or without Lua script. That's one of the great things about Roblox. There's so much that you can do in terms of creativity. You can actually design worlds like that alien planet that you saw that little robot like running around on. That's completely possible for a student to do without Lua script. Also the demonstration of, you know, where the bowling ball at the first one was just rolling down the hill. That's all comes with our physics platform. So that gravity and the fact that that ball can just roll, and that if you were to fall off, you know, let's say a hill or something, your character can just reset. That's all baked into the system. Lua, it's a lot like Python, if you guys happen to know Python without the white space concern. So it's even easier to use. So it's a really great first type language for students who are ready for that, or if they're looking for that big challenge after Scratch.
Well, that sounds very ominous. So Seth, I know we've still got you on the call. I'm curious, have you seen anything unique that your students are creating in the classroom?
Yeah, we're in the middle of activity 2 and 3. Students are just asking, can I do more? Can I add another bowling alley? Can I add a different type of bowling alley? And so my answer to that is always yes. You're more than encouraged to go above and beyond.
I think what's really cool of something as simple as like your bowling alley experiment, you can think about what are other things that they can do that are similar. You can think about something like, you know, a domino track where you're using the same sort of physics to set up like different patterns or something that follows. So you can bring in physics elements like that really easily. You can also think about like what other interactions do you have in the world? So just with that basic pattern, there's quite a lot you can do when you start asking your questions, like what else could we click on? You know, like what else could we shoot off? Maybe we can kill germs of soap bubbles or something like that. So you can really spark their imagination by asking them, what are these mechanics and how else could you use them?
And then we have a question from Grace. Is this education.roblox.com or is it roblox.com? So I don't know if somebody from our team wants to pick that one up. Right now, what you're seeing is this is just a friendly game. We haven't really put this game up on the Roblox site for others to play.
And this is on roblox.com.
So eventually we'll release a more school-focused version of Roblox, at least of the Discover page, not of the whole platform. But for now, everything is in the Learn and Explore sort. So if you just go to roblox.com and you scroll down on that Discover page, you'll see the Learn and Explore sort, and all of our educational experiences will populate there.
So what I've given you sort of a mixed demo of many of the things that are already pre-built into this world, like the garage doors opening, the frisbees, the lanterns from the store, the furniture in the house. What students have written are NPC player interactions. Like I said, how quickly and mean the ghost behavior is. How the gems are hidden. They have to hide all of the gems. They create the gems. They have to reveal the gems, move the gems out of their hiding places and collect them into their backpack. But for example, there are a lot of resources out there. We included this up. We have a player stuck in the ground. I'm so sorry, PLTW Kareem. But for example, we have the students import this hospital, but we also have them add a script to it that can restore their health if they've been attacked by ghosts. So while a lot is provided, everything is modifiable. And when you open it up, especially for the problem that Sheila and Wyatt demonstrated, that's where you really see the creativity come in. This is, like I said, this is the project that lets them practice their skills. And then they actually transfer those skills into the world problem that they create. So I'll just keep running around. And one of the things that, if you're curious about the dynamics, and then I'll turn it back to you, Jason, is that you can replenish the world at any time. I think we're probably in between gem redeployment. There are 10 gems in the world and there's a lot of players running around, so we might be out of gems. But every so often, and you can define how quickly that is, you can redeploy all of the game assets. So pretty soon we'll have a whole new set of gems to collect and we can continue on our game. But I'll turn it over now to, unless there are questions particularly about game assets.
We did have one in the chat for Seth asking about implementations within engineering. I guess the question's coming from Alicia Smith. Wants to know, Seth, do you use this with your engineering classes? I know you teach across both engineering and CS, and they're asking to know so that they don't know how they can convince engineering teachers to use this. In the district that Alicia is using isn't currently using CS program of study.
Yeah, so I'm definitely thinking about it. We use a lot of Autodesk Inventor in IED, as many of you guys know. And so with the background that they have in IED, design part would probably, they'd probably enjoy. I do have some students who they have friends in this class that are hearing about this. They're excited and definitely want to the same activities, and they see it on their MyPLTW. So I'm sure they're just fighting at the bit to get involved with this. That's probably after our break.
Great, thanks, Seth. We've got another question coming in from Arthur that we'll answer live. In my classes, we've gone through the first two modules. My issue is what to sacrifice in trying to get through the curriculum. So it looks like Arthur's teaching cyber security, computer science essentials, computer science principle. Looks like what would work best for me is an enrichment short course. Any thoughts on looking at it that way? Absolutely, Arthur. This is intended to be an optional module. We know there are opportunities or requests often for additional content that sits outside of our courses. We also know there's constraints in the day and with end of course assessments, but we really wanted to allow this to be untethered from all of that and give students an opportunity to engage around the Roblox Studio platform. So there's no expectation that it has to be implemented anywhere within your courses, but we wanted to just make this available for our network and let them find the natural place for it to land. Yes, could see it as an awesome extracurricular activity.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in on that. Like I see you mentioned CSP. So something like Roblox Studio is a great way to take some of those principles that you're learning. It could be something like loops and have them creating like a series of different objects, maybe a ghost that pops up every 2 seconds. So it's a really great way to take some of those core concepts like algorithms, like loops and conditionals that you are focusing on in computer science principles, where you have the option to work with different softwares and you can actually create artifacts. So we've seen students and teachers do that before.
Yeah, I would add on to that, Wendy, that every concept you want to teach basically at the high school level with perhaps really complex stuff like hashes and I don't know, maybe recursion, even then you could do it. I think you can do in Roblox from what I've seen. Every major concept that you want a student to practice can be done and seen on the screen. So it becomes very concrete, it becomes very hands-on, and then of course it's all game-based if you want. It can be world-based, experience-based, it doesn't have to be a game. We focused on games for our specific purpose of game design, but it could be, like you alluded to earlier, you know, recreating the Roman Colosseum. And if you do that programmatically, you got a few columns to build, and that would be a great, you know, iterative approach to programming there.
That would be such a fun project.
That would be. Let's do it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like excited about that idea now. Like, oh yeah, you can programmatically use like loops to go ahead and create the columns, and then every so often turn it. That would be great. And
imagine the math. Yeah.
Yeah, and to bring this back, ultimately Roblox is a full-on production tool. So it goes all the way up to the university level at people who are really doing this for a career, that they are engineers in real life, they are game designers and experience designers in real life. And the magic of Roblox is actually more that it is accessible at an introductory level, so that students can get in, they can start seeing some computer science principles in action without having to really, you know, work with a library that maybe doesn't have much, you know, concrete going on. But they can take those skills and they can build on them as far as they want to go with as sophisticated computer science principles as you want to go.
Thanks, everyone. Carol, I might ask, could you turn the volume down on that one a little bit? I had a request to have less spooky music going right now for the Q&A session. So great. I think we have a few other questions. I know we're approaching our time. One was from Marilyn. Yeah, so Karine had responded. I teach computer science. Our intro to engineering teacher is using PLTW. Is there any way students in game design, the game design class can access the game design and development module? Yes. So again, anyone who is trained and credentialed and rostered as a student would have access to the game design and development module from 9th grade and above. Other questions? From Howard, is there a year-long version? Currently, no. This is really just intended to be a single module of 20 to 25 days of content. Another question from Arthur. Oh, we already got to that one, so I'm going to close that. Can multiple students work on the same game world at the same time? So I don't know if anybody wants to talk about that capacity to collaborate in Roblox Studio. That could be the Roblox team or our team.
Sure. Absolutely, that's one of our strengths, is that you can work together in real time. So I've actually gotten to work on projects such as this myself with my team, and you can actually see each other in the same space. So it's much like working in Google Docs. You can see where people are floating around in space, changing a mountain over here, while this person over here is creating a building, and you can see these things come to life in real time. At the same time, you can do that with the scripts themselves. So you could be working on a script, and then you can see there's another script that's also being worked on, and it would show your friend's name saying that, you know, this script is being accessed by so-and-so. So we have built-in real-time collaboration for both the environment creation and within the scripting.
Excellent. Thanks, Genevieve. Rebecca, I know you had a response to Grace. I wondered if you wanted to take a moment and address that question.
Yeah, so we're aware that different schools and districts and states have different student data privacy policies that might make features like locking down chat or ensuring certain safety and provisions around private servers absolutely essential. As you can imagine, as a company that wasn't originally designed for use in schools, we still have some work to do to make sure that we're really low friction and totally compliant with all the many different types of school and district policies. So keep your eyes peeled for work to come from us in the next year to better address some of those concerns. They're totally valid. And we are working with legal and product experts on our side to make sure that we're able to roll out new tools, features, controls, et cetera, for educators to have more control over some of those concerns. Thanks.
Great. I'll double check with my team, but it looks like we have no open questions. We don't have any other questions in the chat. Did Were there any others we wanted to get to before we close?
I'll just add one thing that students really love sharing this and getting feedback from students outside of your class, because it's super easy because so many of their friends are on Roblox, so they can share it and then get feedback by beta testing or playing their games after school. I've even had students say, Mr. Bonner, can we do this on the weekends or after school? And I mean, when a student comes to you and asks that, I think you're winning. So
yeah, and that's such a valuable life skill to be able to be like show your work and get feedback. Like that is something that will serve you well no matter what you do as a career, you know, and particularly as an engineer.
We did get one final question from Patricia. Sorry, there is no way for a teacher to monitor chat. And then a second question, is it obvious to teachers how to access the module in their teacher guide? So to the first question, there are ways in which you can locally disable chat. I know that and Rebecca, please, or Genevieve, if you'd like to jump in. I know that they have instituted a large number of measures to provide safety for those engaged in chat, but I didn't know if there was any other additional comments.
As you're working in Studio, it's actually sort of inherently chat free. You can only chat with people who are in the same team create session. That's like if you are creating together, like I mentioned earlier, if you're a group working on the same game. So there is separate chat on the platform still. So you can actually request that to be turned off, either so that they can only communicate just with friends, or if you can just turn it off for, you know, the space of the classroom. And that's something I would recommend. But within Studio, there's not the same chat that you have on the platform, but it is something to be aware of.
Great. And to Jennifer's question, is it obvious to teachers how to access the module in their teacher guide? It should be. You should see it as a tile when you go into courses. Under professional development, and then you'll see the purple tile for the game design and development module. And then we have one final question for James. Will the course be available in our courses forever or for a limited time? We know this is just the start of a journey, we believe, with Roblox. So we have no termination date for the access to the module. I know a lot of folks were a little worried we were going to take it away, but no, it's yours to enjoy for the indefinite future. And as I said, we do look to be building on these experiences moving forward. We're really excited about this partnership. We're really excited about what Roblox Studio brings as a tool for our students, the relevance. We already know the majority of students 16 and under are already there. So the fact that we're giving them this powerful tool and opening the world and demystifying the world of game design and development so they can see the type of work people like Arshia and her team do. We're super excited about that opportunity. And we really appreciate all of you spending time with us this afternoon to learn a little bit more about Roblox and Project Lead the Way and Phenomena and all the work that we're doing over the next year together. So more to come. With that, I'll turn it over to my team, to David, if there's any other questions. Rebecca, anything else you'd like to say in parting with the group here?
Just a big thank you to all of you, specifically to educators who are going to give this a try. We welcome and look forward to hearing your feedback and hope that your students continue to enjoy it.
Agreed. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, team members. Thank you, Roblox, Phenomena, Seth. Thank you all for attending. This is exciting times. And as Jason said, this is just the start of the journey. So stay tuned and be on the lookout for more developments with this partnership and these experiences that we'll develop for our students for all across America. So thank you all and enjoy the rest of your evening.